Yo, yo, yo. This is MrNiiMer, and this is MrNiiMerGeeks. Today I want to actually make this video because of another video that I previously did. So if you haven't watched that, please go and watch that. And after watching, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, and then commenting on that video as well. So the last time, or this video that I'm talking about, I actually talked about the fact that Google actually downloads an AI module onto your PC without asking permission or even prompting you that it's downloading or making that download. Now, when I was talking about that, I mentioned the fact that this module takes up maybe like 4 gig of your storage on your PC. And I referenced this to a problem that I was having with my PC. So I'm an avid Windows user. I like using Windows. I think maybe storage on Linux is better, and maybe storage on Mac OS is also better. But I'm an avid user of Windows. You can literally find whatever software you on Windows, and I like how I can play around with it, go deep dive into the nitty gritties, all the corners of Windows, and then do all the little things I want to do. So this problem actually became something that was annoying because this is the problem. There are certain times on Windows, let's say maybe you get a pop-up for an update, you do the update, you go to check your storage, and your storage has maybe bumped up to like maybe 10 gig or even 20 gig. Now, when it does that over a time, let's say maybe 2 weeks, a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month, you start realizing that the 20 gig you had has now dwindled down to, let's say, maybe 15, and then it goes down to 10, and then it goes down to maybe 8, and then it goes down to a 7. Then you see 5, and then maybe a 2, and then all of a sudden you'll be using your PC, and then your PC tells you, or maybe you try to download something, or I am someone I work with statistics. I work in statistics and then data management. So most of the times I have a whole bunch of Excels opening that are running functions that are pulling data from like other worksheets and then other Excel files. And then all of a sudden you get this pop-up that says your PC doesn't have any storage. So maybe the whatever you're doing crashes, and then you have to go in there and see if you can delete a bunch of things and that kind of stuff. So it's something that I've been researching into. I still haven't come up with a solution, so I wish and I hope that maybe someone sees this video and then tries to help me out. But then yeah, when in my research to solve this issue, I came up with, or I came onto two things. So the first thing was something called Windows Storage Sense. Now, according to Google's own Gemini, Windows Storage Sense is a built-in automated tool in Windows 10 and Windows 11 that frees up disk space by deleting temporary files, clearing the recycle bin, and then managing local cloud content. You can turn it off or you can turn it on, change how often it runs, or run it manually. So you can actually run it. So in doing research, I chanced on this, and then someone was like, maybe in one of these forums was saying, oh, you can actually use storage sense to like free up a bunch of space. But then I was like, no, it's not even like that. In the previous Windows that I've used, maybe Windows 8, maybe Windows 7, I've used Vista, I've used Windows Me, Windows 2000, Windows Millennium, all that kind of stuff. If you have 10 gig, you have 10 gig. Maybe you might use maybe a gig to do a bunch of things, but you have 10 gig. You can go and come maybe on and off, maybe like 10 in maybe a month, and you still know you have 10 gig. But in Windows 11, I didn't even realize it in Windows 10 that much, but in Windows 11, there's always this particular thing. So someone was like, oh, you can turn on storage space, and then storage sense will actually be doing managing your like storage for you. So here in Gemini, it actually tells you how to turn it on. I think it's on by default, but it tells you how to turn it on. So you go to Windows Start or your Start, you go to Settings. In Settings, you go to System, and then in System you select Storage, and then you find Storage Sense under the Storage Management section, and then toggle it on or off. This is how to configure it. So how to configure and use Storage Sense you click on storage sense arrow or text menu to open its detail settings. Choose when it runs, for example, during low disk space or daily or weekly or monthly, like on a schedule. And then set how long files stay in your recycle bin and then your downloads folder before getting deleted automatically. Select run storage sense now at the bottom of the menu to perform an instant cleanup. So I saw this and then I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it. So then you go to your, or you click on your Windows Start, you go to your settings icon, or you can click your Windows logo key on your keyboard plus your key I. So your Windows logo key plus the letter I or the key I, and then it will take you to settings. And then in settings, it says go to system, and then under system, find storage. So this is storage, and then you click on storage and then storage actually brings you. So this is my main hard drive. Again, I mentioned in the previous video that I love this hard drive because it's an NVMe and it's very fast. I know the storage is very low, but I don't really use this drive for storage of anything. Anything that comes onto this drive, I move it to my other drives. So if I download something, I move it to my other drive. Most of the things that I install are not even that much. It's just a whole bunch of software and then apps that I use. So now when you come in here, what storage would normally, also the normal storage is, it will go through whatever it is that is on your PC and then categorize it. So you have installed apps, others, temporary files, documents, desktop, and all that kind of stuff. Now, from there, then you go to storage management. So storage management, this is where it says storage sense, and then this is the button to turn it off. So I have it on, or you can use this to turn it off. You can also do a cleanup. So the cleanup, for instance, it tells me that I have over 5 gig of storage available for cleanup, and then you can go through that, and then you can go through what your advanced storage settings. So let's go to cleanup and then see. Now the cleanup is where downloads are. Now most of these downloads is not even files that are, they are actually work files. So work files as in huge, not necessarily huge, but Excel files that have a whole bunch of like workbooks and then sheets in them that I actually go to frequently. So I have it on my drive because again, like I said, the drive is very fast. So I have a whole bunch of that here. So this, for instance, I can't delete. Also, I have things that I'm downloading, software that I'm downloading that I haven't finished downloading. So I'm torrenting them. So that's why this is very big. So this, for instance, I can't delete. So when I click on this to maybe clear it, I literally can't. So I'm not even going to do that. And then you can go to large or unused. So large or unused, like I said, it will take you through things that you have on your PC that are large that you can delete. So I can actually delete this, but even these, when I delete this, I'm still not going to even get maybe a gig. And then these are just some small. These are screenshots and then PDFs and all that kind of stuff. So there's no need to. And then files synced to the cloud. I don't really sync files to the cloud. I literally want to have my files at hand, so I don't sync anything to the cloud. And then unused apps, I don't have any apps that I don't use. So storage sense can literally help me, but it's not helping me the way I want it to help me. So this is cleanup recommendations. So then you can go to advanced settings. So advanced settings is where you can literally change things on your. I think I will do another video on this where you can set like paths. So a path on any Windows PC is like a link from one point of the operating system to a storage device somewhere else. So maybe I can set a path for maybe my videos or my downloads or my music or my installations, and then anytime I try to install something, it is not going to be on the Windows drive or the C drive. You can actually set a path to like other drives, so maybe your D drive or your external or your pen drive. So I think one of these is we'll go through all of that and then check out that. So this is something like, this is one of those options, but like I said, we'll go through it. So now when you come back to storage sense and you click it, it actually takes you to where it says you can set everything up. So here it says keep Windows running smoothly by automatically cleaning up temporary system files, and then app files and all that kind of stuff. And then there is automatic user content cleanup. So storage sense runs when the disk space is low. And literally I'm very, very low right now. Right now I'm on maybe like 3 gig or something. And then you can configure it when they set. So you can actually run, so during, these are the options: every day, every week, every month, and then during low free disk space. So this is the default. And then you can set how long like it will retain or contain files. And then this is delete files in my download. So let's say if I was actually adhering to things that I do, as in when I download something and then I move it to another drive, I could turn this on. But again, like I said, this drive is very, very fast. So I want to keep things on there. So now when it comes to managing or freeing up space, you can actually use this. So again, you go to settings, you come to system, in system, you scroll a little bit down, then you go to storage. Storage is after the power and then focus options. And then in storage, again, the storage will categorize almost every file that you have on your. So this is most of the files. So installed apps is taking maybe a chunk of my space, and then it will actually tell you your drive space or your drive's capacity, and then how much is left, and then how much has been used. And then again, you find storage sense, and then you can turn it on. Now, aside from storage sense, through my travels on the internet for a solution, I also came up on this. So this is something, or an app or software called Windows Directory Statistics. So you can search for it like this: WinDirStat. So WinDirStat, or you can search for Windows Directory Statistics. So Windows Directory Statistics usage analyzer and cleanup assistant for Microsoft Windows. Now I downloaded it, and this is how it works. So I did a bunch of screenshots. The reason why I did screenshots is when you open the app itself, it's supposed to scan your drive, and it takes a long while to do that. It's actually running right now. You can see it here. It says 57%. So I did a bunch of screenshots. So when you install it and then you go to your Windows Start menu, like I said, you can search for it. After searching, and then you open it, this is the first prompt that you get. So it will ask you, do you want to run WinDirStat WinDirStat with elevated privileges to enhance scanning speed and then accuracy? So if you choose no, it is going to do the scanning, but where it has to go deep into certain files and then folders, it won't be able to do that. But when you give it the privileges, it will be able to go into every nook and cranny in your PC. So I will normally select yes. And then now at this point, it will ask you for what you want to actually scan. So do you want to scan all the drives? So I have 4 drives connected to my PC right now. The main is a C. I have a backup, that's the D, and that one's even 4. I have another drive, that's E, that has a little bit of storage. And then I have this. This is my what's the name? My pen drive for work. This is also for work. So it has a whole bunch of files and then documents for the work that I do. So you can actually choose to all drives, and then it will scan all drives, and then individual drives. So individual drives, you can go in and then select any of the individual drives, or you can even scan folders, individual folders. Now another thing to it is you can scan for duplicate files too as well. So I actually like this. I have an app on my phone that actually does this. That goes through all the files on my phone, and then it will get all the duplicate files, which I think I should do another video about too. So I'll find a way to mirror my phone, and then I'll do a video on that. And then you can use accelerated scanning. So I'll choose, when I was doing it, I chose my first drive, that is C, and then it will actually scan. So this is how it looks like. So this is a screenshot, and then this is now the app running. So when you go into the app running, this is how everything looks like in the app. I thought they were okay. So this is how everything looks like. So you can see my drive C here. It will go through everything and then find all the files on your machine, and then it will start grading them. So this is the percentage, as in how it has been running, the physical size of whatever the thing is, and then the logical size, and then how many files are contained in there. So let's say if you pick this folder, for instance, this folder is a backup of an old phone that I used to use. So in another video that I did about Samsung releasing the new fold lineup, I talked about like my first Samsung phone, and this was the first Samsung phone. It was a S10e. I was using a Pixel before that. So this is just a backup of all the files from those two phones. So this itself has taken like 36 gig, and then it has about like 30 files in there. So this is really cool. This app can actually scan all your drives, and then it will pull up each and every file, how the capacity of whatever the file is, the storage it has taken, how many files, and then the last change and all that kind of stuff. Now the thing I like about this is when you come down here, so when you come down here, you see all files, largest files, and then duplicate files. So like I mentioned earlier, it can actually scan for duplicate files too as well. But when you go to large files, it will now bring up all the files on that drive that you choose. If you choose all your drives, it will mix everything, but you still can see the location of each file from the drive letter. But then because I chose C, it gave me only C. So the biggest file on my drive right now is my hibernation file. So if people don't know this, anytime Windows actually creates a file that whenever you try to hibernate your machine, it stores everything into. So this is the file. So anytime you see this file here, so hiber file.sys, don't delete it. You can actually go into your settings and turn off hibernation, and then it will delete this file. But I am someone, like I said, I work a whole lot. The moment I start doing my work, I sometimes can't break. So sometimes I just pause things and then hibernate and then come back later. So hibernation is really important to me, so I keep it on. So that is the biggest file, it's 6.3. And then there's this file here. It's a recovery file for my machine. So this is also like 3 point something gig. The next in there is a download file. So Cuphead. I have a setup of Cuphead the game. So that's also this. And then there's this page file. So page file literally is like a temporary memory file that everything happening on your screen gets stored in. I think one of these days I'll have to pick out these files and then we'll actually delve into them. I also have Filmora. So this is one thing that I'm downloading. This is another thing that I'm downloading. I've just paused them, so they are actually like this big. They are not like the full size. And then there's this MFT file, which is also 1.6. So this is cool. It will actually, you can actually sort them by name, or you can sort them by physical size or logical size or last change. So this is the last file. The last file is a what is it? A VMware file, a VMware setup that I downloaded. So I actually do the physical, so it will give me the highest to the lowest. When you click on physical again, it will sort it from the lowest to the highest. So you can do that. So this is cool. And then now you can also go to duplicate files. Now when I go to duplicate files, it's going to take a while, so I'll have to like pause the scanning. So you can pause and then stop over here. So I can pause and then I'll go to duplicate files. So like I said, it is going to take a while because it has to load all the duplicate files that it has found, and then it will present that. So again, if you are in the same boat as I am, where like you have maybe 10 gig or 20 gig, and then anytime you switch on your machine, the space just keeps dwindling, 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 and you don't know the new things you are putting onto your machine, or you don't know how the space is. You can actually go through this. So like I said, you go to Windows Start, you go to Settings, you select System, and then you go to Storage, and then you turn on Storage Sense. So like I explained, Storage Sense will literally just go through your files, and then it will give you the option to delete temporary files, and then cache, and then all that kind of stuff, and then delete things from your recycling bin to give you back your space. Or you can go onto the internet and then find this. So Windows Directory Statistics or WinDirStat. WinDirStat. You can search for this and then it will give you the app. And then when you install the app, so now you see the duplicate files have been loaded. So it will list all your duplicate files for you, and then you can literally just go through them. Now I prefer using these on drives that don't have system files, because most of these system files you don't know if they are really duplicate or they are just two files working in different situations. So most of the times I like to use this duplicate files option on drives that I don't have, maybe just documents and then media and then downloads and all that kind of stuff, or pictures and all that bunch of stuff. So that is how I am trying to solve this issue that I have of Windows 11 eating up my space or eating up my storage when I know I haven't copied or downloaded or done anything new on my machine. Now, this is the end of the video, so I hope this helps anyone who watched this. I hope if it helps you, you share it to other people that are in the same situation as you or the same situation as me. And if you have been able to find a solution to this problem of Windows eating into your storage, help a brother out and then send me a message or send me a link or something, comment, and then let me know how I can also solve this problem of mine. So thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and then let me know how you feel about this video. Thanks, and then see you another time.